Do your colors ever look dull or muddy? How about we change that? So, hello there everybody, it's me, Mako from Strange Rocks. And if you noticed, I put up a poll a while ago, and the winner of that poll was color theory. So today I will be explaining what I know about color theory. So without wasting any time, let's start the tutorial, okay? Also, a quick disclaimer. I am by no means a professional, and so I would like to apologize ahead if any of the info I give out is wrong. Please feel free to correct me in the comments, okay? And with that, here's the first topic. Hues are, well, the pure color. As you can see on the screen, the colors present on the color wheel are called hues. And when you slide the cursor, like, ooh, look at that. Yeah. And when you slide that, you basically choose a new hue. And that's basically what hue is, right? Simple. Next, let's talk about shades and tones and tints. So, shades are basically a color being mixed with black to increase darkness. Tints are a color that is mixed with white to increase lightness. And tones are a color mixed with gray to lower the saturation of a color. Let me explain with an example. Like, when you mix black and red, you get maroon, which is a shade. When you mix gray and red, you get like a dusty red color, which is a tone. Example of a tone, I mean. Then you mix white with red, and you get like a pastel pink color. That's a tint. But these do not change the hues. It just changes how light, dark, or desaturated a color is, okay? Values are basically how light or dark a color is, while saturation is how vivid or intense a color is. Yep, that's basically all there is to it. Though, I would like to mention that a color can be saturated but dark, or desaturated but light. Those are actually not the same things. And a little tip that I would give out is to try and balance bright colors with like neutral colors such as browns, grays, and beige colors. And these actually make the brighter colors pop even more. Next, I'll talk about color harmony. So I'll keep this one short because there isn't really much to it. So color harmony is basically creating visually appealing combinations of color schemes. While color schemes are the colors that are appealing to look at in a way, okay? Like there are many types of color schemes, such as achromatic, monochromatic, analogous, complementary, split complementary, triadic, tetradic, and square. But I'll be real with you, okay? We do not need to learn all of them. Neither do most artists use more than 2 or 3, okay? Like, for example, my personal favorites are analogous, complementary, and split complementary, as you can see on the screen. And you can see them in most of my works, right? And I use complementary color schemes because they help me get like a high contrast and dynamic illustration. Okay, so editing Mako here. I forgot to mention the type of color schemes that I was talking about, so I'll quickly run through with them. Achromatic is the type of color scheme that uses no color at all, basically just whites, blacks, and shades of gray. So it's more about value and contrast instead of colors, hues. Then monochromatic means using one single hue but with different tints, tones, and shades. So basically just one color, just like lighter, darker, and muted, with muted versions of it. And analogous color schemes are the schemes that use colors that are right next to each other on the color wheel. For example, blue, purple, and purple. These create a very soft and harmonious looking illustration since the colors are very similar. Complementary colors are opposites on the color wheel, like blue and orange. They create strong contrast and make each other stand out more. This is actually great for making your focal point pop. Split complementary is actually similar to complementary, but instead of using one opposite color, you use two colors next to the opposite. So it still has contrast, but it's less harsh and more balanced than complementary. Triadic color schemes use three colors which are evenly spaced out on the color wheel. And for example, like red, blue, and yellow. Yeah? Tetradic color schemes use four colors made up of two complementary pairs. So they're like, give you a lot of variety, but they are tricky to balance. And square is the color scheme that is very similar to tetradic, but the colors are evenly spaced out around the color wheel. This creates a very colorful and balanced palette. Color relativity, right? So it's basically something that I think is not talked about enough. So color relativity basically shows how the surroundings affect how we see a certain color. Like, you may have seen the popular trend that was going around recently, where people would color pick and say, look at this pink, and then it's actually gray. That's what color relativity is. Like, as you can see on the screen, blue next to orange does not look the same as blue next to green. Also, please try not to immediately color pick and try to choose a color from the color wheel to train your eyes to understand undertones and color relativity. And trust me, I know it sounds really tedious, but you'll soon be able to pick colors that are actually really close to the original. So here is the example of the same illustration in different moods. So illustration 1 is kind of like a night scene, right? And here the dominant colors are cool blues and purples, which creates like a nighttime mood. And the warm yellow light around the hair acts as a contrast and pulls our attention to the face. And the pupil that Mako has actually pops really well. That's because red actually sits opposite to the blues and purples used, you know? While in the second illustration, you can see that I've made kind of like a sunset scene, right? Again, on the same base here, this scene actually uses mostly warm colors like oranges and yellows. And because the background is warm, the cooler teal hair stand out more, which keeps the character at the focal point. Also, cool thing, did you notice how the hues in the background and the light source are similar, but Mako still pops? Well, that's because of the value contrast in the hair, right? So, to recap what we've learned, hues are the pure form of a color, while tints are a color plus white, which increases brightness. Tones is a color plus gray to lower saturation. Shades is a color plus black, which increases darkness. Values is how light or dark a color is, and color relativity shows how surrounding colors affect how we see the color. I have some small tips that I have prepared, so yeah. Use value contrast to improve the focal point. And a simple way of checking that, like the values in your drawing app, is you go to the layer window, then you add a layer on top of everything, fill the layer with black or white, set the blend mode to color, and this turns the whole illustration into grayscale. Or for Android, go to settings, then accessibility, vision enhancements, then color correction, and under that you select grayscale. And add the shortcut button for easier access. Also, I'm so sorry to all of my iOS users. I don't know if there's a similar feature for iOS. Do color plus value studies. Boring? Yeah, sometimes. But you learn from experience, okay? You won't understand by just listening and not applying. So please consider doing studies too. Study artists. Try to analyze professional artists' use of colors that makes the illustration harmonious and how they create mood. Instead of just making a color lighter or darker, shift the hue towards, for example, yellow or orange for, let's say, warmer highlights, and blue and purple for cooler shadows. And this actually gives more interest and dynamic to the illustration. That's all the important basics that I know of color theory. Hope you understood me even a little. I would also like to remind everyone again that I am not a professional. So I still suggest to learn by studying how the pros do it, okay? Don't be discouraged if it does not click for the first time. Color theory is hard. But the key to learn is to keep learning. I am also a learning artist and I'm walking right beside you. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you learned something new. Please subscribe if you want to watch similar videos to this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.